Emma Grede is a Black British woman who co-founded Good American with Khloe Kardashian and Skims with Kim Kardashian. And over the last 12 months, she said a few things that have rubbed the internet the wrong way. She said, and I'm quoting, "If it's possible to have true work-life balance, tell me who she is and I'll tell you a liar." She also said, quotation, "I think it's your responsibility as the employee to figure that out. I don't think it's on the employer." And she was talking about the whole work-life balance. And she said that asking about work-life balance in an interview is a red flag. The internet did what the internet is going to do, okay? Half of the people drag her and were pissed. While the other half said, yes, we've been trying to say that. Say it louder, sis. Now, I want to be upfront. I'm not interested in the actual argument. What I'm interested in is to talk about what I think Emma Grede was right about and the areas where I think she's dangerously wrong about. My name is Sandra Kemanyu, and I spent 17 years in corporate America. As a corporate trainer, I trained over 2,500 employees face-to-face. And then as a business analyst, I navigate the C-suite executive space. Left corporate America to build my own business 7 years ago. And as a coach, I've spoken to over 1,000 Black women who left corporate America or are quietly plotting their exit. So when Emma Grede speaks about women in corporate America, obviously I listened because she's speaking from a very specific position. As a Black British woman, founder, equity holder, adjacent, her position on what she said is real, but it's incomplete. So let's start with what I think she got right. Number one, effort is real, and building something extraordinary obviously requires a lot of effort. And you don't need to be a billionaire for that. I watched my father in Cameroon build his private hospital to it being the number one private hospital in the country through working. Through working, through effort, through sacrifice. I think everybody's clear on that and nobody argues that. And I think that there is a class of advice that has been telling people that they deserve rest, that they should relax. And I think what she's saying is you can relax, but you can't be promoted at the same time. And so you have to choose your battle. You got to choose what you want out of life for yourself. It says that it's the responsibility of the employee to figure out work-life balance versus the responsibility of the employer. She's right. She's simply making a statement of fact about her current position. Because remember, she's not the employee in this equation. She's a founder, she's a CEO, and she's responsible for the company, not the work-life balance of everybody that's within that company. That's structurally true. However, there's a huge moral question underneath that statement. But the structural fact, that's accurate. In other words, you're not going to sue a company because you don't have work-life balance. Because in her mind, when you work for somebody's company, your work-life balance is for you to figure out. It's for you to figure out the time you're going to spend with your kids, when you get your hair done, when you go to your doctor appointments. That's on you. The company is not going to have a calendar saying, come on, let's figure out all these activities. It's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility. That's what she said. So she named the fact that's happening in most of corporate America. And so the people that are mad might be saying it shouldn't be that way, but the fact remains that most companies in corporate America, it's not like that all over the world, but most companies in corporate America don't care about your work-life balance. They assume that that's your side of the fence, and you handle that when you get home. And my third valid observation, which is a little bit more subtle, is that the word work-life balance has become diluted. Like it has become a word that we use that you can't quite put a finger on what it means. For some people, it means shorter hours. For some people, it means working from home. For some people, it means providing childcare. It means different things to different people. And because there's not one universal definition of it, it makes it difficult to pinpoint. And so I agree with her that the conversation needs to be more specific. What do we actually want? Do we want flexibility? Is it more time off? Is it mental health support? Is it caregiving leave? Because these things are real and they deserve advocacy, but we need to define it. So if I'm being honest, Emma's argument have three valid places and things that we can look at. Now let's talk about what I disagree with that I think is dangerous. So here's the thing that Emma cannot account for. And that's simply because she's coming at life from her perspective, which most of us do, right? And so she's looking at it through her own lens. She's a founder, she's a co-founder, she's an equity holder. She's building brands that bear her name, or at least her name is tied to the brand. So when Emma works 14 hours a day, she's working to build her brand. When she does 10 podcasts a day, she's working to build her own brand, her own thing, her own legacy. So when she grinds, every additional hours build into her asset base. Now, most people, most Black women in corporate America, that's not the case. When they're working 14 hours, they're working to build somebody else equity. They're staying late to build somebody else career. They're grinding inside companies that will not give them ownership, that will not give them ownership in proportion to their contribution. And that's what Emma is missing. And I think it's the most expensive blind spot in this whole conversation. So I've studied this specifically, and I call it women's leadership capacity loss. And it's the single biggest hidden cost in corporate America that nobody is really reporting on. Here's what I mean. A Black woman walks into corporate America at 28, highly capable, strong work ethic, real ambition. By 38, and I have hundreds of data points on this, she has produced enormous value for that company. She's trained junior staff who got promoted over her. She's saved multiple projects that got attributed to someone else's leadership. She's held teams together through all the reorg and downsizing that happened. Her market value, though, has started to decay because she's been doing all this internal work in a company that does not translate cleanly if she gets a new employer, because it looks like I've been helpful versus I've been contributing at a high level at this company. So that's leadership capacity loss. So Emma's argument of work harder and figure out your own work-life balance framing does not solve that. It compounds it. Because when you tell a Black woman who has spent decades working hard and working overtime in a system that will not promote her, work harder because that's not the employer problem, what you're actually saying is give more capacity to the very system that's depleting you. And that's not advice, that's actually a trap. Number two, the second thing is the privilege Emma did not outline or mention. And that is the part that's we're getting into dangerous territory here. She has publicly said that she has a team of nannies, drivers, assistants. And so her version of work-life balance, a woman whose home is ran because she pays other women or other people to do it. Most Black women in corporate America don't have that infrastructure. They are the balance, right? They are the driver. They are the cook. They are the cleaner. They are all these things. And so when Emma says to these women that work-life balance is your responsibility, to women who are working 2 unpaid jobs in addition to the paid one, what she's really saying is figure out how you're going to do 4 jobs and don't bother me about it. That becomes not necessarily a leadership truth, but it shows class, right? The only thing is she just didn't name the class and who she's talking to. The third thing is when she says that people that claim that they have work-life balance are liars. I think that she's making a claim about something that she can't fully observe or know, because work-life balance, there's not a spreadsheet on that. How you gonna check? How you gonna know? So you're just gonna have to take my word for it if I tell you I have work-life balance. Because there are women who have built sustainable lives, who have figured out the trade-off, and they've decided that an 80% performance in their career is better for them as long as it's sustainable in the other areas of their lives, that 100% in their career, that breaks everything else apart. Emma's statement does not give room for those women who actually exist and are making that choice. See, there's not only one kind of success. Most Black women I've spoken to are actually not trying to be like Emma. They are looking for something else. They are looking for freedom. They are looking to build a life that includes their career, their family, their hobbies, their rest, their health, their fitness, their wellness, their God. And those women are not failing at success. They're simply succeeding at a different kind of success than the one Emma had. The reason all of this matters and why I'm even doing a video about it is because there's a specific framework Black women in corporate America need right now. And I call it the power evolution. And inside the power evolution, we have 3 doors a Black woman can walk through in her career. Door 1 is a promotion path. This is for the woman that wants to rise through the rank and is focused on doing just that. Some Black women belong there. They will fight for it. They will sacrifice for it. They will code switch for it. They will do anything and everything that's required to get to that level. And so for those women, Emma advice is actually incredibly helpful. There's a second door, which is the optionality path. This is the Black woman who is staying in corporate America while she's building her exit strategy. She's building a network outside of her company. She's in coaching program. She is trying to launch that business. And this advice is not great for those women because their work hard needs to be allocated. The extra time they have needs to be allocated to building the exit plan. Door number 3 is the founder path. These women are just going to leave, build their own, and become Emma, or whoever they were supposed to become as a CEO. I believe that Emma advice is incredible and the perfect match for the founder who is going to end up working hours and hours and hours and sacrifice, but they know they're doing it for their own thing. They're building their own equity. They're building their own brand. And so they're going to work hard for years, for a few years, because they know the payoff is going to be there. So if you're watching this, let me ask you a question. Which door are you? Door 1, promotion path. Emma advice is relevant to you. Door 2, the optionality path. Emma advice is not for you. Door 3, the founder path. Then yes, Emma advice, at least at the beginning for the next few years, is absolutely going to be your life. Let me close with something Emma didn't say, but I want to put on the table. There's been a lot of conversations around Black women and our ambition and all these different things. And I want to say this. The majority of women that I meet are ambitious. That's not even a question. Are smart. Are the backbone of a lot of companies. It just doesn't translate. And more importantly, you can be grateful and want more. You can be at the top of your career, making 6-figure, have a C title next to your name, and yet still want more. And know that there are other things on that equation that matters to you, like impact, like freedom of time, like spending evenings with your kids, like spending summers in Europe. You get to build the life you want. And nobody should shame you in that, in exploring other doors and other options for yourself. Emma surely is. She's surely expanding her personal brand and decided that she wanted more, she could do more, she could build more. And so my advice to all of us is to make sure that in the transaction you are having, either with corporate America and your business, no matter what the transaction is, that you are clear on what's in it for you. Drop a comment below and let me know what door you are, door 1, door 2, door 3, and let's continue the conversation in the comments. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.